Hey everyone, what is going on? Mathias with Archer Live, and in today's Payday video, I've got some very big news for you regarding the future of Payday 2, because as you can see in the title, more DLC is coming for Payday 2 on PC, and by extension, that means we'll see it on console at some point in the future. It's actually a prediction I made a little while ago saying that I thought this would be a strategy Overkill would take up, and I'm glad to see they've done that. But there's a massive post I'm going to read through from Starbreeze's CEO, Mikhail Nermont. There's a lot of things to talk about, so I don't want to waste any more time with the intro. So without further ado, let's get into this and talk about some Payday news. So this post from Starbreeze's CEO, Mikhail Nermont, opens up with a special message from him that I want to read out because I think some of you deserve some context as to what's happening with Starbreeze, because as you know, with the reconstruction, a few things have changed, one of them being who the CEO is. So, the post reads with, "Heisters, I'm posting this today to communicate a few of the changes coming to Payday 2. Most of you don't know me, and that's how it should be. The day-to-day interactions you have with our Overkill devs, community managers, and the moderator crew are by far more interesting, I'm sure. Our team together with you provide a forum where first-hand input can be discussed, and these are dialogues that directly affect our current and future development. I took over the helm in December of last year for the second time, and I see myself primarily as the custodian, facilitator of making great games. If you look at the company as a well-oiled machine, every cog in the engine is more important than I. I'm just here to make sure everything's clean, oiled, and running smoothly, and my job is to create an environment where the team can focus on what's important, the games. And as many of you may or may not know, our company has gone through something of a purgatory fire in the past year. Because of this, we're announcing a few Payday 2 changes today. I'll summarise them here in a too long didn't read right here at the top, and then dive into the details. So I'm going to go through this TLDR at the top, and then I will read the details out as well, because there is a good bit to talk about. So, the first bullet point is last year, Payday 2 development was stopped. Having reconsidered our future, I've asked the Overkill crew to resume production on Payday 2. The game will have more updates going forward, both paid and free. The team is working hard on the first new update. I will let the team present it soon. Hello there. But you could get a sneak peek here, URL coming soon, so that isn't actually here just yet. That'll be here at some point in the future. When there's news with that, I'll let you know. We're reintroducing the DLC. I don't know how to pronounce that word again. I know what it means though, so give me a second. An a la carte option of previous legacy content DLCs will be made available again starting today. In other words, on PC, you could now buy any individual DLC on its own again, the way you were before Ultimate Edition was released, because when Ultimate Edition was released on PC, you could no longer buy an individual DLC. If you wanted to get just the Big Bank DLC, you'd have to buy the Ultimate Edition to get it alongside all of the DLCs. Now, if you want, you can still buy the bundle, which now has a new name. We'll get to that in a second. But you can also buy DLCs individually as well, just like it is on console. They made the Crime Wave Collection, which collects all the DLC on console together, but you can still buy each DLC individually if you want to. It's something I said Overkill needs to do, and I'm really glad they've taken my advice and gone for it. I mean, hell, I don't know if it was me saying it that gave them the idea, or whether they just came up with it. I know they're aware of the channel. I mean, if it was my idea that tempted them to do it, then, I mean, that's crazy. But either way, I'm glad they've done it, because it's a good strategy to do, so it's really good to see they've taken that on board. As a part of our journey into the future, we'll be changing the Payday 2 Ultimate Edition to Payday 2 The Legacy Collection starting later today. We want to be able to move forward together with all of you in our community, and to be able to do this, we need to retire the promise of free future content based on old assumptions, more below. And finally, new curated bundles on existing content will be created to give great offers to new and returning players. So let's dive a bit more into this before I explain it any further. So the preface says, in the beginning of this wall of text, I mentioned the purgatory fire we've been through in the past months and challenges we're still facing. To keep it relevant and not too lengthy, I'll condense some of the background to this here. Most of the details can be found on our website if you'd like to learn more. Late 2018, Starbreeze found itself in an acute liquidity shortfall, fancy words for we were urgently really out of cash, and in December of 2018 we entered into reconstruction, a procedure similar to the US version of Chapter 11. On December 3rd, we only had projected cash reserves to run the company until mid-January 2019. This was how serious the situation had become. Since then, we've been able, through our extremely hard work and commitment by all of our employees, to stay afloat, clean up our business, and start thinking about our future and the future of Payday. We're not entirely there yet, but we are starting to look ahead at what's next. And this brings me to the changes we're making. The next thing that Mikhail says is something that I was going to say either way, so he takes the words right out of my mouth. He says, to get out the door immediately, yes, I know, we're breaking a promise. We do not do so with ease or take this lightly. At one point in time, our company believed that the interest and engagement in Payday 2 would decline over time as new internal games were released. Resources were needed on new projects, and production of Payday 2 was scheduled to stop, and no more updates to come. Those projects being Overkill's The Walking Dead and perhaps maybe Raid World War 2, but that was done at a different studio studio, so I'm not sure whether Overkill devs helped too much with that. But either way, especially The Walking Dead was a game that they were trying to shift resources to. By popular demand, this deadline was extended a few times, but development on Payday 2 ultimately shut down in December of 2018. It was also believed that the sheer amount of 6 years of DLC releases was confusing for returning or new players, and a blocker for people to get into the game. At the same time, getting the game with all of its content was coming in above $200, a respectable sum for any game. Hence, the Ultimate Edition was born as a package deal, and it was basically the promise of get everything Payday 2 in a package until we release the next installment of Payday, which, as we know now, is Payday 3. Now we're breaking the Ultimate Edition promise of forever free content. The reason for this plan is plain and simple. We want to move forward and make more of Payday 2, and to do so, we need your support to continue producing content. New DLCs will be a mix of paid and free updates. I'm going to pause there because there's something I need to say, because I know there's going to be a lot of people who are still unhappy despite that statement. Let me make something very, very clear, is that a prediction I made not long ago about them making new DLC and releasing things to be purchased individually, I said right then that the issue is Overkill decided to make all updates going forward free because they made so much money off of Payday 2 that they felt they didn't need people to keep paying for DLC. They wanted to give something back to the community and say, you don't have to keep buying DLCs, the rest of them will be free now, purely because we don't need to have that. We don't need the money to stay afloat, we're doing okay. But as we know, all that money was plugged into a game that didn't sell very well, that crashed after a few months, that being Overkill's The Walking Dead. So all the money they made off that is gone, it's kaput, there's none left to go for. So if they want to make more DLC, they're going to have to charge for at least some of it to help keep the business afloat and hopefully generate more cash and revenue for Payday 3. They wouldn't charge for the DLC if they didn't need to, and that's a thing I think people are going to forget. So as always, remember, you don't have to buy the Payday 2 DLC. You never have had to in the past. You don't have to now. If they release more heists, you can play them if somebody else owns them. You can join as a client. You don't have to be an owner of it to play the heists. If anything else is released, then, you know, it's up to you. It all depends on what you want to get, you know. But the whole point is, you don't have to buy the DLC. You never have had to. But if you do, then you're supporting Overkill, you're supporting Payday 2, and you're supporting more DLC going into 2020. And, I mean, hell, I don't know what their plan is. Maybe there'll be more DLC even in 2021, but I don't know just yet. Either way, let's have a look at what else he's written. There's not much more, but he does say, the Ultimate Edition will be retired today, but Payday 2's Legacy Collection will immediately replace it. This will still be the best offer on anything released 2018 or earlier. So basically, it will just change name. That you will still buy the bundle, it'll still have the exact same stuff that the Ultimate Edition had, but it'll just be under a different name. Obviously, that title makes more sense than Ultimate Edition, because if they release new content that isn't in the Ultimate Edition, then you don't really have an Ultimate Edition. It just doesn't make sense logically. Finally, he says, I've had reports from our team that the, again not pronouncing that word, or a la carte option to be able to purchase DLC separately is very much requested, so I'm happy to announce we're making individual DLC available again starting later today. The price for the individual DLCs will remain as stated as the original price in the bundles. Finally, he closes off the statement by saying, what about the next content drop for Payday 2? Be patient with our team, please. They're working hard to deliver the next Payday 2 update and will present it in all its glory starting soon. URL to come soon. Thank you for your support and for sticking by us. Signed, Mikhail, CEO of Starbreeze and Overkill. Before I talk about anything to do with that statement, there is something I need to clear up very quickly, and that is the status of console updates. A lot of you are here for console. I do both platforms now, but I do still play on console. I'm a main console YouTuber. So let me clear up by saying Overkill did reply to someone asking about console by simply saying, today we're focusing on PC, but we'll have more news on the console versions soon. And as we know, a console update is in the works. That was confirmed a while ago. One is coming. It just is a question of when it releases. So let's talk a little bit about this and what it means for PC and console. So first off, let's clear off the most important things. I said from the start, I knew that this was going to be something Overkill had to do to make some more money. I'm not saying it in an I told you so fashion, but it's simply just the fact that if they want to make more money, first off, new DLC, because not everyone will buy it. Some people will not like Overkill for going back on this promise. I get that. I'm not here to persuade you either way. I wish I could, but most of you will be set in your ways. If you're against it, you're just going to go, well, I'm not supporting Payday because they broke another promise, blah, 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 blah. Some of you are going to be like that. I get it. Overkill get it. But the people who do want to support the game and want to support Payday can buy this new DLC, enjoy something new and refreshing on Payday 2, and help influence the future of the Payday franchise and help get Payday 3 off the ground and releasing in a few years' time. It's as simple as that. It really, really is. And those are the best strategies they've done to help get this in motion. So having a bundle, but letting you buy all the DLCs on their own, that encourages people to come back and spend little amounts rather than seeing it only one bundle and deciding not to spend any money at all. And on top of that, more DLCs will bring more people in and get more people interested in the game. And I'm glad they've called it the Legacy Collection, because that kind of defines it in its own, like, kind of chapter, I suppose, Payday 2. Because obviously, we know the story ended with Payday 2 in December 2018, or just before the end of 2018. We know everything ended. The whole story came to a close. It all finished, all wrapped itself up in a little bow. I did do a video talking about ideas. I'll leave a link to that in the description in the top right corner of this video now. But my basic idea was that they could try and go back and visit, you know, what about little heists they did in between story events? What about heists where they go, okay, well, you know, before we raided the White House, or before we did this, before we did that, before Bane got kidnapped in Reservoir Dogs. We did this heist. It wasn't really majorly contributing to the story, but it did happen. So let's just revisit that. Let's look back and reminisce kind of thing. So they could do something like that. That's a good place to start. Adding new characters is questionable. Probably the hardest thing to do to make it worthwhile with the story now that it's finished. But weapon packs, heists, those kind of things, they could do those easily. They really, really can. But as for console, because I know people are going to ask me about this, the simplicity of it is we know a console update is coming soon. We still have about a year's worth of PC content to catch up on. So really, we need to get that stuff first. I mean, obviously, whatever is released on PC isn't even out yet, so it ain't even worth considering it for console yet. But Overkill did say they were working on a system to get console and PC updates up to speed. And now PC updates are coming out again. Maybe they'll start working on that system again to try and get things up to speed. Because even if it's not at the same time, it will be really nice to get the Xbox One and PS4 updates even like 2 or 3 weeks after PC. As long as they could give you a set date, you know, like how sometimes in old Call of Duty games they go DLC out first on PS4 and then an Xbox One and PC 28 days later. That kind of thing. If they gave us a date, it would be a lot better and we'd know what to expect and when to expect it. So maybe they can get us to that point. Who knows? I really don't know. It is anyone's guess right now, but that's what I'd like to see us get to at some point in the future. But anything else is just speculation, and I want to save that for a different video so we can all get talking about, you know, what we'll think will be coming, etc., what ideas we have. But for right now, I do want your opinions on what's happened with Payday. Do you like the idea that they're bringing out more paid and free DLC? Are you going to be buying that DLC? Let me know why. Let me know why not. What do you think about the situation with PC generally, about Overkill's choices to try and get some more money into the company? Do you think the updates will come out on console? Yes, no, tell me why. Give me all your answers down in the comment section below. I can't wait to get talking with you guys about this. This is some big news, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all think about it. But either way, thank you all very much for watching. This is a big video to make. I'm really glad to see more Payday 2 news, because it's very touch and go at the minute. I'm really hoping we keep getting updates like this that help keep me engaged with the franchise, because I love doing some of these news updates, etc. So it's really, really good to have bits to actually make proper videos out of and get really in depth with what's happening with Payday 2. So thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, as I've said, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. It is always very, very much appreciated. It only takes a couple of seconds and it will help me out a lot. And if you are new around here and you fancy sticking around for some more Payday 2 content, feel free to hit that subscribe button, because it's quick, it's free, and I will always love you for doing so. And again, it's always a shameless plug at the end of these videos, but if you do fancy supporting me over on Patreon, a link is in the description on the top right corner of the screen now. Donations are never ever expected, but are always appreciated and will always support me and the channel. So I really hope that some of you will consider it if you fancy giving me a bit of extra support beyond the watching, liking, and subscribing that you guys do already. Either way, thank you all for watching. I will see you all next week with a brand new video. Until then, guys, take it easy, look after yourselves, and I'll see you all very soon.